Hello, and welcome to Democracy in Fiction, where we discuss the ways democracy interacts with fictional universes and pop culture. My name is Tommy, and I use he, him pronouns, and I support the Baltimore Crabs. Claws up!
My name is Katie, I use she, her pronouns, and I support the New York Millennials. Let's go Mills, baby! Love the Mills!
And my name is Mika, I use they, them, and in this household we love and support the Seattle Garages. That's right, today we are talking to you about Blaseball, and if you have no idea what we're talking about, here's a quick intro for you. I did not just typo with my mouth that this is not baseball. This is Blaseball. The L is important. Things you should note right now. Today is Sunday, October 4th. We are at the end of the week-long siesta before Season 9.
Blaseball is an absurdist fantasy baseball game created by the Game Band during the summer of 2020, and it's gained a pretty huge fan base in its short existence. Each season lasts for 99 games, 1 round per hour, Monday through Friday. On Saturday, the postseason begins, where the top 8 teams participate in a round-robin bracket for the playoffs. Participants choose a team to support and a player to be their idol, and get coins when that team or player they're supporting does well. Coins can be used to invest in upgrades that can make you more money later, place bets on various live games, or purchase votes to use in the election. The election happens once per season and allows participants to vote for decrees that change the rules of Blaseball and change the likelihood of receiving blessings for your team. The more money you make, the more votes you can buy.
Now, I'm going to quickly define some vocab words we'll be using during this episode. So, participants, those are us, the real people that interact with Blaseball. Players are the fictional characters that play in Blaseball, like Tot Fox. And the teams are, obviously the teams, we are going to be using it to also include the participants along with the players on a specific team.
So, why are we having the player, or the team, include both the players and the participants? Because there's kind of a lot of interaction between the participants and the players, and, so the comparison of Blaseball to fantasy football is one that is pretty strong. Fantasy football is similar in terms of, mechanics. I don't know fantasy football too well, but I'm living in a house with someone who does, and I'm basing it off of this experience. Kyle, if you're listening, hi. The main difference between this and that is the players of Blaseball don't really exist in real life. They are completely fictional, and to the creators of the game, they're nothing more than a randomized string of names, which can be like Allison Abbott's a pretty standard name, a punk rocker who was unfortunately transferred from the Garages last season, to Randall Marijuana, or Jalen Hot Dog Fingers, who we'll talk a bit more about in a second. That's part of the appeal, but not only does voting give the participants a way to change canon or determine canon, but everything in the canon, aside from the rules of Blaseball, are made by the fans. It's on the wiki. You get things where it's like, okay, this person's name is Six Pack Dog Walker. That's all. But on the wiki you can read a bit about how she's a very good dogs. There's 6 dogs total who are combined to be Six Pack Dog Walker, and she's a very good girl. She has an enchanted Blaseball bat that is the flaming femur of the guy who was incinerated for her to join the team. She doesn't use it because she's a pitcher right now, because she got switched around during some reverb.
In addition to creating lore around the different characters, the participants have also messed around with some loopholes from the rules. So Jalen Hot Dog Fingers was on the Seattle Garages and was an excellent pitcher. She was incinerated at the end of Season 1 when the Forbidden Book was opened by a decree. So then, in Season 6, the participants were able to choose Hot Dog Fingers as their idol, and then raise her to 14th on the idol rankings, which meant that during a blessing that would bring Hot Dog Fingers from the null team back onto the Seattle Garages, and thus necromancy would ensue.
This is a pretty prime example of the collaboration of the Blaseball community. Something that's really interesting about this media form, I guess, is that What am I going to say?
I mean, I guess something about this media form is that it's so collaborative. Like, the idol rankings are how many people have idolized this one player. And the blessing that the Seattle Garages won, which they also had to put a bunch of money into votes to get this blessing, was lottery pick. It was you take the 14th position on this board. So if other teams didn't want this to happen, they could have just idled someone or unidled someone and pushed to remove Hot Dog Fingers from position 14. But that didn't happen. Hot Dog Fingers stayed in 14th and got successfully necromance, which has led to some interesting complications, such as the fact that she needs to redeem a soul debt and now just throws as hard as she can to cause players to flicker and be incinerated sometimes, more often than not. Now her debt is repaid and she sometimes throws balls at people and makes them switch teams. Fun and interesting concept there.
So last season, before the siesta, something interesting happened in there were 3 pink microphones, 2 next to 2 pink
Sorry guys, I kind of went ham here. I really like Blaseball.
We might have to cut that part down.
Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, long story short, there's a lot of collaboration within the Blaseball community, especially within the Discord, which is where lots of the participants are able to talk to each other, talk to the game band who maintains the website, and talks to the self-formed team captains. Something inter-team collaboration in Blaseball is a pretty big deal and fairly common event that happens in order to dictate certain outcomes in the long-form game outside of the game.
Which is pretty different from fantasy football, where a lot of players will be like, oh, I hope that this team wins, but only because they are a bad team going against a team that we really want to lose.
I mean, there is a little bit of that I know of, where the New York Millennials just got switched in the league, so we're no longer in the Wild League. I believe we're in the Mild League now, and that's something we were pushing for, so we didn't have to go up against the Crabs anymore, because the Crabs are too powerful.
But now you need to go against the Garages.
Yeah, I'll see you in season 9, I guess.
Have fun getting Hot Dog Fingers throwing things at you.
Well, on the note of having extremely strong teams, to help balance that out, there is a mechanic called Party Time, where once a team no longer has any possibility of making it to the playoffs, they enter Party Time, and then different players on the team will get large boosts to their stats to help level the playing field.
That kind of aids with some of that, if you have a more powerful team that's doing better, then you have more votes and therefore more influence. So Party Time helps combat that a little bit, as well as some decrees, such as Eat the Rich, where the top 1% of participants' coins get redistributed to everyone else, which is a fun one.
Which happens every season now,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a nice little boost.
So, as we mentioned earlier, Blaseball elections are based on the concept of buying votes. So if you are following a team that is doing better during this season, you would be earning more coins and therefore have more influence. Is that democracy? Is this democracy?
You have a choice of what you do with your coins, because you can use your coins to invest in getting more coins later, or you can invest your coins in getting a vote, which is 100 coins, I think, per vote. Not a lot in the scheme of things that you can make, but it's also way more than you can get by begging. If you run out of money entirely, you can get like 6 coins from the Blaseball gods, and you have to work your way back up. Once you have enough money to be making consistent cash after every game, or after every day of games, then the vote is kind of the next biggest part. You vote for a chance to get more money, or for a chance for your players to get better so you can get more money. You can also switch teams, for the record, so that's something you can purchase. It costs a lot of coins, but if a team is doing really well, the chance that there will be more people who switch to that team to buy more votes for that team to get better blessings is an existent thing.
So, looking at this concept, the election in Blaseball, from the point of view of an American, what does this mean in terms of democracy? The current structure is set up so that if you are following a team that is doing better, you have more money, and if you have more money, you have more votes, which means you have more influence. What's the deal with that?
There's also kind of the way that the blessings work, where one vote buys you a piece of the pie and gets you a better chance of winning the blessing. But that doesn't mean that you're winning the blessing if a lot of people on your team vote for it, but it's still like,
It's a lottery system.
yeah.
While, decrees are formatted so that the top decree or top two decrees, as dictated on the election ballot, are passed and entered into the Blaseball rules, while blessings are a lottery. So if no one voted on any blessings, there would be an even chance that any of the teams could win them. And buying votes increases the chances that your team will win that blessing, but it's still not a guarantee.
There's also some important coordination, like within one team. A lot on the Discord, there will be a decision about, we as a team really want this blessing, so that everyone is aware that they should be putting their votes towards that blessing, while without any communication, you would individually decide what votes would be best, but you would not necessarily be using your whole voting power as a team, which is also interesting.
I feel like that kind of connects to real-life democracy and the way we vote on real current events.
I mean, paying for votes is something that feels kind of un-American, but also feels kind of very American. Being able to pay to vote multiple times, though? Oh boy, that could, have some serious impacts. I mean, that's kind of what lobbying is, though.
Yeah. While you cannot currently actually buy votes in the United States, there is definitely a high political influence when it comes to monetary value. Having more money to donate towards political causes means you can buy more advertising, more screen time.
Other things, yeah.
You get more attention towards your cause, and therefore it is more likely to be considered, I guess.
Another interesting thought on paying for votes is that people do invest some amount of time in voting. Like, you have to drive to your polling place or have postage to be able to mail your mail-in ballot, depending on the state that you live in. And so you do not physically have to pay to vote, but there are lots of other investments you have to be able to make in order to do so.
Voting day should be a national holiday. Period.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And some places, your place of work might be mandated to give you either a day off or a few hours off to vote, depending on your state. If your employer is denying you the chance to do that, look it up and tell them that I sent you, because they're going to catch these hands.
And on that note, what do you think about being able to have lobbying power by having more money in Blaseball?
In Blaseball or in real life? If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments section down below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Democracy in Fiction.